Welcome to Productive Joy with Dr. Christie, where fun meets action.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Productive Joy. I am so excited to be here with you today to give you that little shot of B12 and to interview another brilliant human so that you can gain some wisdom and knowledge from our friend Celi. But before I introduce Celi, I just need you to follow this podcast. If you are not already following, please do. It takes 2 seconds, and then you will never miss a great guest like Celi. So Celi Arias is a lot of things. She is a self-owning workaholic. She's also a brand new mom. In her 40s, she wanted to add that in. She's a former professional dancer and a former fashion designer, and she's a lifetime fixer of businesses who loves to travel. That doesn't even mention all of the cool stuff that we're going to talk about later, but Celi, welcome to Productive Joy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I am excited to. I love your show. I love the theme of your show. It feels like very aligned with what I aspire to do. So I'm like, yay, good challenge. We get to try to talk about these things. So yeah.
We're gonna talk about all the things, Celi. It's gonna be a lot of fun, I promise. And before we get started, I know that people are funny and they will only listen for a few minutes before they're like, or yes, I want to hear this. So what would you say in about 30 seconds that would convince people to keep listening?
Oh, well, I think it always fascinates people or shocks people a little bit that I built my first business when I was 11 because I really wanted to take ballet and my parents couldn't afford it. So I always say I've been in business for over 25 years and it's actually true. And the other thing is I've also been homeless because of business. And I think that's really important too. One of the reasons why I teach what I teach and I do what I do is because you can do really, really well in your life because of business. And it can also go terribly wrong. So, and I've been on both ends. And I think that is really interesting. And I forget to talk about that part of my life a lot. But I do think that adds a little color to the story.
Oh, very colorful, like vibrant colors. Okay, so 11 years old, you wanted to take ballet and you created a business. What was your business?
I was an avid reader and I read The Babysitter's Club, of course, like you do in the 80s.
Yes.
And I was like, I can do that. So I built my own Babysitter's Club, except for I was the only one who worked. And some of my friends who looked older, I was very clever because when you get older, you complicate these things and you make all these processes very difficult. But I was very young and young looking, even though I was very mature. So I coerced my slightly older friends who were taller and more developed to be my sales team. So they would go door to door with me and sell the services, but then they were like, peace out. And I was the kid who showed up to babysit. But I actually had clients from the age of 11 all the way to about like 17 or 18.
Wow.
So when I got older and I got my driver's license, those same clients were like, wait a minute, if you're just now getting your license, and I hired you the first time when you were 11, right? And they would be like this horrified look on their face. And I would say, yeah, but look, your kids are still alive. Everything's fine. It was great. It worked out. You still hired me. So yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well done. You know what? You have clearly figured out a way to work the system from the very beginning. Well done to you.
Yeah. I'm always trying to figure out how to work the system or rework the system. So
Yeah. Okay, so my favorite Babysitters Club character was Christie because my name is Christie, although she spelled it Kristy, if I remember correctly. And I know there was a Claudia. I don't really remember the rest of them, but I did love the Babysitters Club.
I don't remember them either. I just know that it must have impacted me because I read these books and thought, well, I can do that.
Definitely.
Without the drama and the stories, like I just wanted the business and the money so I could. And I literally took my money. I drove my little garage sale bike to the local like Dolly Dinkle dance school and I signed myself up and they had to call my mom and say, hey, your kid is here signing herself up for summer ballet classes. Is that okay? And she had no idea. She was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I've been saving up my money for ballet. I'm here. And she's like, oh my God, of course you are.
Now, do you have siblings or are you an only child? Like how
I do have a younger brother.
Younger brother. So you've probably been schooling him in all things business your whole life too, because it's obviously in your genes.
Yeah, actually, I don't think he appreciates it, much like younger brothers don't appreciate when you school them on things. But I will say, my brother has gone through my program as a full-on paying client. So my program is called the Grown Ass Business. And let's just say he has tripled his revenue and he's doing quite well in his business.
Oh my goodness.
He would not, as a brother, would not like for me to take credit for that.
Of course not. But you know what?
He's
Obviously,
a phenomenal therapist. And like many therapists often run a business from like a place of service and not knowing how to run the business and how to have a healthy, profitable business. And he's doing quite well. So
that's awesome.
I'm going to tell him to listen to this episode and he's going to hate it. But
He's going to be like, oh, you had to say that, didn't you? Darn you. All right. Well, Celi, you live and breathe this. And by this, I mean making people better at what they do, right? Like you help people create businesses. I love the title of your business. I think it's perfect. And so tell me a little bit more about what you do with your clients to get them to triple their revenue like your brother.
Well, I think that the really important thing in business that we often miss because it's become trendy to become a business coach, and there's this whole online space too. The thing that we often miss is that for you to really feel fulfilled in your business and do the thing that you want to do and bring to life the business you want to bring to life without hating your life and without hating your business, is that you do need a custom strategy that's built for you. And so what I do is I teach people about business and how business works so that we can figure out and devise and build that custom strategy that's built for them. A lot of times we're learning the way other people did things and we are in comparison all the time. And we're like, well, Christie did a podcast and she did this in her business, so I guess I'll do that. Or you talk to your friend or you talk to your peers, you talk to your government. It's like, oh, you're doing that and you're doing that. This person. So like we start to either learn from a lot of people online and we start to try to put it all onto our businesses, or we are in comparison all the time. And we started to try to do like, well, that worked for her, so I guess that's going to work I have to do that too. And then we're piling on all these things. And then we're kind of making a Frankenstein business that maybe isn't even the business we wanted to build in the first place. So I help make it super, super simple. I have a methodology. The Grown Ass Business Method is based on the 6 key growth systems that a business needs. And we really pare down what actually makes a business function and what makes a business grow and what makes a business scale. Because those are all very different things. And if you just understood the mechanics of business, then you can build your own business. The one that feeds you, that you feel like you are living in purpose, the one that you're doing the thing you wanted to do in the world, the one that gave you the freedom you desired, and the one that doesn't have you hating the business or hating your life.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
That is awesome. And I'm going to guess, I mean, because this is just kind of how you're wired, you've been a student of this your entire life. But what got you here? Did you study this in school or did you just figure it out as you were going? Like what led you to be able to make it super simple for people? Because you really have to understand something well to make it simple for others.
Yes, absolutely. Well, number one, I've made all the mistakes. So, I started a fashion line when I was in my early 20s, and I was also a dance teacher at the time. So I done all the things wrong. I tried to do all the things. I did all the things for several years. I avoided looking at my numbers because I thought I was a creative and I'll just lean into how creative I am and won't look at the business stuff, right? That eventually burned me out. I always say, burnout comes from really not knowing where is the right place to focus your energy. So you're just kind of focusing on everything in a very scattered way, and that's exhausting. I did eventually get an MBA, and I don't recommend it for entrepreneurs. I think MBAs are great if you are in the corporate world, climbing the corporate ladder, and it's kind of a thing it's a box you have to take.
Right. You got to check. Doctor in front of my name is a box I checked. I understand.
Yes. Yeah. And it was fun. Like my nerdy student brain had fun for sure. But once I was in it, I was like, none of this really applies to my entrepreneurial way of being. because entrepreneurship is really practical. So I would say that my methods and what I've built is based on a lifetime of making lots of mistakes, being in a lot of businesses. So I wasn't only a business founder, but then there were times where I got exhausted and burnt out and I went and got a job. And so I have had key roles in startups, and I've had a sales role in corporate and luxury corporate sales. Then I went back to startups as a COO. So I've sat in all the seats and seen things from all the positions and started to kind of put together the full image.
Yeah.
And now the way that I like to think about it is like, oh my gosh, if I could save you those years of pain that you are in, because I've been in there and we've all been in there, then I've done something right. Like if I can save you from spending money on that thing you don't need or you don't need right now, and if I can save you from feeling like a failure just because you don't know this stuff, then like I've done something with all of my chain of mistakes, right? And I've done some good with it in the world. And that's really like what drives me and why I have so much fun doing what I do.
Well, and it's clear. It's clear in how you carry yourself that you love what you do and that you have passionately pursued the growth that's required to get to this point, which is awesome. So, congratulations to you. Because a lot of people live their whole lives wondering, well, why did I go through that? And why did I do this? And you
Right.
put it all together into this tapestry, right? Different from Frankenstein, definitely more like a tapestry of how does all of this fit together so that I can be the best aid, version, support system for others. What a cool way to get to where you are. And you're here with a brand new baby. So, and that self-proclaimed workaholicness, how are you balancing it all? How are you making it all happen?
I'm learning. Well, you read my LinkedIn post today, so you
I
know.
did. I did.
I am learning to honor the new constraints. So I was thinking this morning in the shower, I had this thought and I was like, I have to write this post today. I was thinking the irony is my job is really to remove constraints from people's businesses and remove the bottlenecks. And here I have this constraint that's been brought into my life, into my business at least, and I cannot remove it. And there's nothing I can do with it but work with it. So what is the blessing in the constraint? And so for me, it's understanding that no amount of mindset and spiritual and healing therapy has made me address my workaholism as my baby has, because I have a timer, right? I can only work from literally 9 to 5 at most, and my day gets interrupted all the time. And so that's actually had me begin to do what I often do for a lot of my clients, which is learn to remove things that aren't really moving the needle or aren't really important. It's forced me to say no to things that aren't really a part of this year's goal or vision. Because I'm that person who's like, yeah, sure, we'll get on a coffee chat. Yeah, sure, I'll speak to your community, even though it makes no sense. Or like, yeah, of course, yes, you can pick my brain. Of course, like this is stuff I love to talk about, right? And it's just, it's allowed me to really say no to things that I probably should have said no to a long time ago. So I always call him my little blessing in disguise, because of course babies are blessings, but in this case it's a really funny one, because I'm like, oh no, I actually don't have the bandwidth to do that for you. I don't have
Because I'm also fully sleep deprived and
Lordy Lord, when does it end?
oh, I'd love to tell you, but I have 23-year-olds and I still lose sleep over them. So I don't know.
No, that's what everyone is telling me. And I'm like, you guys are not making me feel better.
No,
I personally like my sleep.
You'll learn to deal with the constraint of lack of sleep. You will. It just becomes a little different, and you steal moments and you will be just fine because you have done it your whole life, right? Like you've figured out how to solve the problems that you were facing for yourself and others your whole life. So the motherhood part's going to also solve itself in different capacities. And I love that you recognize the blessing of the constraints. I think about, well, since we're talking about kids, let's talk about, child rearing and the need for discipline. That I've been an educator my whole life, and students, children, humans need discipline. They need to know where their boundaries are. They need to know you can go this far, but at that point, I'm going to stop you. That's when we can feel our safest. That's when we can feel our most comfortable. And that's what's happened in your life, really serendipitously, right? Is all of a sudden you have boundaries and I cannot go outside of these because before you had him, I guarantee working at, 11, 12, 1 a.m. happened and you did it because you were doing the right thing for your client and not necessarily the right thing for you. So how cool that you're figuring all that out.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't think, even though I can logically understand the importance of no and boundaries, and I even probably coach on it, there was nothing that was probably really going to get me to make that shift until there's another human here that actually does need my attention and my full focus and not me being on my phone or my computer, right? So it's been awesome. And I'm starting to have fun with it. I know that you're a lot about joy. And at first I was like, oh, I can't get that done and I have to take, and now I'm starting to have fun with, okay, what is the most, this could get interesting. What is the most optimized team? Like I realized I was functioning with a really not optimal team because it didn't matter, because I could pick up the pieces on the weekends and fix the things that broke and fix the dropped balls and fix the messy Google fold. It didn't matter because I had that kind of bandwidth. And now I don't have that bandwidth. So now I'm completely up-leveling my team. I've had to let some people go, let new people in. And I've had to say, hey, this is like the new bar,
Yeah.
right? And so kind of we're having fun with it. Like, what is this? And it's actually what's going to take me and my business to where I want it to go. It wouldn't have gotten there had I been the one who's overworked and exhausted. So
Which is pretty cool as a coach of businesses for you to be experiencing it for real in real time, because that makes you a better coach, right? You're living
yeah.
it, which leads me to my favorite question that I know that you kind of studied and thought about. But I want you to describe for us your definition of productive joy.
Well, I wish I had a really cool answer because you've had some people have really cool answers to this. But I was thinking about it. For me, productive joy is really feeling like you're on purpose.
Mm.
I do have a master's in theology, so I'm a little bit of a like spiritual junkie, but I really believe like if you're here on this planet living a life, you're in a body, you're in a human body, you get to have this experience, then what would be more joyful than actually fully getting to live your purpose, whatever that is? So for me, it's we're truly living a life that's on purpose and feeling like what you're doing makes an impact, right? And that is productive because it's like what you're doing in the world makes some kind of impact and it's joyful.
That's
And
profound, Sally, and really well said. So what I heard is you're doing things on purpose to live your purpose. And that's a connection that I'm not sure everybody makes, right? Like so we go to work and when we're at work we're doing work things and they can't be fun because I'm at work. And it's not necessarily that on purpose living your purpose thing. Now some of us are blessed enough to be in the space where we are living our purpose, but so many people feel stuck that they can't do that, and you're helping people do that, which I think is beautiful. So the majority of the audience that listens to Productive Joy are women. It just so happens I can see that kind of stuff on Spotify and YouTube. And so like 75% of them are women who are juggling all the same things you are, right? They have families and they have businesses and they're trying to figure out how to do both. And really our men are doing the same thing, right? We're all trying to figure out how you get it all done and still grow and still get better and still improve. How do you help people do that? Because you're living it yourself right now. But what advice do you give to people who are trying to grow their business that get them to be able to manage all the things?
well, it really depends on where you are in business. And I'm happy to give you, I have a tool that I've built for this, and I'm happy to give you the link to share.
That'd be great.
In order to grow your business, I'm going to give you the cheesy analogy that's probably been given before, but it's like, a GPS. It's like getting to a party. Well, you need to know where you are starting. Where are you right now? What do you have in place? And what is the one next thing that you need to do? So a lot of times it's like we have a business, we don't really know where we're starting, and we have this kind of nebulous end goal in mind, if even a clear one. And then we kind of just hop in the car and expect to get there, right? And that's, it's just you're never going to make it to the party.
Yeah.
So number one is, what is the party? Where is our end goal? Is it a ball? Is it a baseball game? Is it, what is it? An end of the year office party of your future? Like whatever. Imagine, what is that future? What is the business that you're building? Where are we going? And then what do you have in place right now? Because what I see often happens is people in 5 figures, 6 figures in their business, they're focusing on the wrong things. And it's not that those things in themselves are wrong or bad. It's that those things will actually distract you from the thing that you should be doing right now at the stage that you're in. So if we had more awareness about the stage that we're in, which is this tool that I'm giving you, and I'm actually writing a book about this. If I just could get comfortable with, oh, okay, I'm here. I'm a 5-figure business. I have one VA and that's all I have. And at this stage in business, I need to focus on boom, boom, boom. And that's what's going to get me to the next stage. So I see people in like early stages of business, first few years, spending 10, 20K on a website. The truth is that fancy website isn't going to get you clients right now when you're at that stage of business, right? So I always say, you don't need a website. You don't need another course, probably. You don't need a template. You don't even need a fancy marketing plan. Like early on, what you need to know that you're in proof of concept stage. So you need to get out there and sell and talk about it and fall on your face and make mistakes and fumble. And you got to get comfortable talking about your product and selling your product. And then hopefully when selling your product, you are collecting proof and testimonials and case studies, and you are making a case. You're in proof of concept stage. You're making a case for the existence of your product and that people want it in the world. And there's a lot of these stages that we try to skip, and we try to I'll just throw money at the problem. I'll just throw money at my business and that will fix the business. And it's when you really think about this, like in fashion, for example, I figured this out at a certain point, a little too late in the industry. But then I noticed that people who've done this have done this really well. If you look at Skims, for example, right? It's like the case study of this amazing brand. Okay, sure, celebrity sales or whatever. But she didn't launch a brand with every single category. Think about it. When she launched that brand, what was the first thing she made? Like 1 or 2 things.
It was very clear that everybody knew that was the thing.
And it was something people already knew. It already existed because it already existed in Spanx. She just decided to make her version of it and make her version of it, make an adjustment to it. And she only made 1 product. And she leaned into that. And she didn't pour her personal money into the business and try to save the business. She made the business make money with that 1 product.
Yeah.
And then it grew and grew and grew. Right? And I think that people who have money or already millionaires or celebrities, Gwyneth Paltrow did not put her own money into Goop.
Yeah.
Think about it for a minute. She went to VCs and got investment and forced the business to actually start making money, but she could have poured her own millions into it and she didn't.
Sure.
And that's the mistake that a lot of us smaller entrepreneurs or beginner entrepreneurs make, is I want this thing to work. I want this thing to work. So I'm just going to throw money at the wrong things.
Oh.
And that's what I help people do, is go, okay, where are you right now? Cool. Right now, I want you to I'm not saying don't do that at all. I'm just saying not right now.
Yeah. Well, it sounds to me like you create a roadmap to get to the party, right? So you are building the GPS, and there's often more than one way to get there, right? Just like a GPS.
1,000%. And also so when you understand the game and you understand that we're building a roadmap and you understand, oh, wait, there's more than one way to get there. Oh, I could even make it more joyful and more easeful because I could choose to take the scenic route. Yeah. I could choose to sit in a comfy car, or I could choose to speed through it fast. So that's what's fun about teaching people like how the mechanics of business really works, is that then it's like, I have a client who we created this strategy for her. And of my private clients, I have an advanced group, but my private, like 15 clients, she's the only one in the room pursuing this one strategy, right? And it's because she's like, I hate making content. I've shown up on podcasts and I hate it. I suck at it. And like, I don't want to do all these things. So we created this completely unique, different strategy, and it's working.
Because it's hers. She owned it.
It's hers. Yeah.
I think, Celi, what I hear from you is that if we lean into our authentic selves, whether it's in business, personally, whatever, when we lean into our authentic selves, we are able to reach different levels of heights, right? Like we could get there potentially by doing what everybody else did. But when we are thoughtful about coming in our own way, then we're able to excel because we're not wearing a mask, right? So I talk about how when we're not dealing with our own personalities, like all of us have a personality, and when we can show up with our personality, we're free. But when we can't, we're wearing a mask, right? And sometimes you need to. However, anytime you're breathing through a mask, it's harder to breathe, right? And eventually it gets to the point where you're struggling. And so what if we took off the mask? What if, and it sounds like that's what you help people do, is take off their mask and say, we're going to focus here. So how would people find you? What is the best way for people to find you? Because I have a feeling there are at least 100 people listening right now going, oh my gosh, that's it. That's it. That's the thing I need.
Yeah, easy. I am on Instagram as Celi Grows Business. So that's very easy to remember. CELI Grows Business. It is me in the DMs on LinkedIn and Instagram, or my website is Grown Ass Business. But if you go to Instagram and you DM me, I can also give you kind of that growth roadmap tool, which is very handy because it kind of helps you to see, okay, this is where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it sounds like such a powerful tool. I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Definitely. And we'll link that in the show notes as well. So everybody that's listening can get to you, because what I think is remarkable about you is you've lived it. You've walked it. You've been through it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, we didn't even get to the homeless opportunity that you had because you were pursuing a business. But I think people can relate to that because we only see people's Instagram reels, right? And they're not showing you the failures. They're showing you the perfect dinner that they cooked, or where business went well. And
This is why you'll never see pictures of me cooking dinner because
that doesn't go well.
Ben.
I am so excited for people to know, one, that you exist, and two, that they can call and say, hey, this is what I'd like to have for my next steps, whatever those next steps are. And if your brother will listen to you, even though he's your little brother and he doesn't want to, then look at what some perfect stranger would do. I mean, we'll listen to strangers a whole lot. We'll listen.
That was a fun cohort when I was like, yes, he has my last name because I am coaching my little brother, this cohort. And it was great. And he doesn't look like my little brother. He looks like my twin. So it was very confusing for everyone, but it was fun. Yeah.
That is really cool. Really cool. Well, I am so appreciative that you chose to give your time to the Productive Joy audience today, because you could have been doing anything else, but you chose to be with us. And you have a way about you that makes people instantly comfortable and yet very, I don't know what word I want to use. It's clear you know what you're doing, right? Like, so I don't know what word I would want that to be other than you're worth listening to. And it's clear that you have earned that right to be credible. Maybe credible is the word that I'm looking for. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being with us. We have some rapid fire questions though before we go. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I know these are the fun ones. Okay. Speaking of, what is your definition of fun?
Oh God, is it terrible that I don't know the answer to this because I'm a workaholic?
Well, maybe work is your definition of fun.
Well, fun, I believe work should be fun. So that's my thing. But fun for me is just doing whatever it is I want. The freedom to allow myself the permission to do whatever it is I want to do in any given moment.
Oh. I like that. And I think that that's a good qualification, because even if you're working, if that's fun to you, then that's what you should be doing, because you have the freedom to do what you.
Because I used to carry around so much guilt about how much I work. And then one day I was like, but I actually like what I do. Why am I feeling so bad about it?
I'm not going to let society tell me what I can and can't enjoy. That's good. That's good. All right. Next question. How do you know that you are showing up as your authentic self?
Well, I would say when I feel comfortable in my body.
Mm,
Yeah.
good answer. Okay. How do you channel your best self on your worst days?
I have a visualization that I do where I go and visit my 80-year-old self or 85-year-old self. And then I just sit and hang out with her for a little bit. And I'm reminded of by then all the cool things I had already done and what I accomplished and what were all the fun moments and like why being alive in this body is a privilege. And it kind of just like slaps me out of it. It's like,
Wow.
oh yeah, we have things to do. We have people to help. It's fine. Let's go. So
This is good. I'm enjoying this. This is fun. You know what? I love that. That is possibly the best answer I've ever gotten. And I've gotten a lot of answers to that question. All right. So final question, and this is going to be tough because you were a wealth of knowledge and brilliance. So by nature, our brains can only really hold on to one major idea from any 30-minute anything. And so from the last 30 minutes, what's the one thing that you want people to walk away with in their pockets as a new tool for them to use?
the truth is, I always say this, and I will keep saying this because it's always easier than you're making it.
Mm.
And what I want you to walk away with is if there's something that you are stuck on right now, that you are frustrated with, or if you notice that you keep going to different people and asking them for advice on the same thing, right? Your brain is a tricky one, and you're probably making it much harder and more complex than it is. So especially if it's like, a business thing that I see people do this all the time where they'll ask me for advice and then they'll go to another coach and another coach and another peer and another colleague and another, and I'm like, oh no, your brain's done. You're a goner. You're spinning out. It's always easier than you're making it. And part of the reason why we make things hard and difficult and scary is so that we don't make the step and make the moves and we stay safe in our confusion and overwhelm and fear. So if you ever catch yourself in those moments, just go, wait a minute. Is it possible that there might be an easier way? And because I find that whenever I build strategies for my clients and we build the roadmap, what I hear over and over and over again is they're like, really? That's it? Like, it's that simple. It's that easy. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you. It's been that easy all along. And then the worst part is like when they go, like this client who we made up her own thing and she's like, I went to the event, I did what you said and it worked and I have all these new leads. So yeah, I'm just going to start going to these events and being myself at these events, right? She's like, that's really annoying that that's my lead gen strategy. And I'm like, it wouldn't work for me. I'm an introvert when I go to like big things. Like that wouldn't be the right strategy for me, but it's the right strategy for her. So a lot of times the thing that you're obsessing about, there's probably a way to make it easier.
Those are powerful, powerful words. Thank you for sharing all your words with us. I can't wait to read your book. We're going to go ahead and put that into existence. If that's going to happen.
This is why I say it out loud. 'Cause I'm like, all these people are holding me to it.
Trust me, I understand. And so we're going to just speak that into existence. Well done. And thank you for spending your time with the Productive Joy family today. I know they gained wisdom from this conversation, and I'm just so grateful that you were willing to share it.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Yay. Okay, so listeners, I told you every time you're going to get some kind of nugget of wisdom, or maybe 10 that you can use right away. So thank you for being listeners. Thank you for spending time with us today. And you know what the challenge is going to be, my friends. So turn around and figure out a way to turn fun into action.